Welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I'm Luke.
I'm Logan.
And today we're going to be talking about some comedy roles in movies that we feel were pretty much perfectly cast. And just the actor did a great job with the character and just some of those standouts. So, would you like to start?
I shall. When we were discussing the idea for this episode, one of the very first actors that I thought of was Will Ferrell as Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't think I could see, like, anybody else being Ricky Bobby. Like, you couldn't put anybody else as the character Ricky Bobby and have them be better than Will Ferrell.
Yeah, that too. Just the humor of that movie too is so like intentionally stupid, and it's so, for what a Will Ferrell movie is, it's so Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And it's even more brought forward by what's his name? The other guy. I always forget his name,
yeah.
But he's also hilarious. Yeah. I think the first time I watched John C. Reilly, yeah. The first time I watched Talladega Nights too, I was probably too young, so I didn't understand the humor enough. But then as I got older and watched it, it's just like, this is just amazingly ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like just the way that he, NASCAR driver gets wrapped up in this whole mess, and the plot itself is so stupid, and just the humor of it's just about like how white trash it is and everything, and he's just like perfectly like ridiculous and like the perfect person to do something so ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah, and it makes too, I forget what the bad guy's name in it, but it's so like the perfect antithesis to Ricky Bobby. Yeah, that's a good first pick. I'll jump over to my first one, which is, I feel like this is basically why this movie is so iconic, is Alan from The Hangover, played by Zach Galifinakis, is just so dumb and stupid, but it's also such a iconic thing from that movie, and I feel like all the memes from that movie are just like Alan, basically.
Yeah.
That is definitely one where there is nobody else that could do it quite like that. And also a weird thing, just about Halloween this year, I feel like so many people were dressed as Alan with like a toddler doll strapped to them.
Yeah. I think the same thing. Like, because also everyone knows The Hangover. Everybody, knows what's about it, or they've seen it or whatever. And the first person you think of is Zach Galifianakis as Alan.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there's other big names too, like, Bradley Cooper, he was pretty solid, what I mean? Ed Helms was pretty solid. Yeah. Like, there's, good characters in it. But when you think of it, you solely think of Alan.
Yeah, and yeah, that's not to say, like, Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms are also both really funny in it, but it's just, it's several scenes, just like the way he is, and like talking about the wolf pack and everything. He's the whole reason everything happens, and then
the catalyst for everything.
Yeah. Also, just like that meme where it's when he's like looking at all the numbers and stuff while they're ripping off the casino is so iconic. So I feel like that movie would still be good if there was somebody else in that role, or if the role was different, but he just completely elevates the stupidity of that to an amazing level.
Okay, for my next one, and I think this one's this one's a pretty solid pick. I think with this actor in particular, he has a lot of roles where it wouldn't have been the same if not for him, but this role in particular, no one could play this character to the level that he did, and that is Jim Carrey in The Mask.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I completely overlooked Jim Carrey, holy moly.
Yeah, well, I feel like, him as like Ace Ventura, or like even him as the Grinch, you know what I mean? Like, no one could play those characters up to a level that he could, but The Mask specifically, I can't think of a single actor in my head right now that could have played that up to the level that he did.
Yeah, and it's too, like, he just has such a, when he's being goofy and stuff, he has such a, like, insane way of doing it, and that's, like, perfect for that movie. And it fits the personality of, like, if you were described what The Mask was about and didn't know it was Jim Carrey, he is basically The Mask, just, like, a regular guy, though, in real life. And then it's, like, take that and just jam it into that storyline.
Yeah.
It's just, like, Jim Carrey with an insanely powerful thing like
Jim
that.
Carrey plus Toon Force.
And it's so cartoony, but if you ever watch, like, a Jim Carrey thing, I feel like comedy-wise, so much of his comedy is, like, just over-the-top, like, cartoony, acting crazy, and, like, weird jerky movements, and his smile, too, is just...
his facial expressions, the
so
voices.
Perfect. Yeah. And yeah, I don't think if they tried to make a new version of The Mask, I think, didn't you say there's, like, a sequel to that?
Yeah, there's The Mask too, but it's the whole...
Yeah, I don't think that's something they ever need to try again, because nobody will... Everybody who would see it would say, well, it wasn't Jim Carrey. Then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is an excellent pick as well. I'll jump into my next one here, which is, I think for some of these too, I'm sure the actor or the writer, or the actor is also, like, a producer or a writer. It's just, like, came up with the idea altogether with multiple of these. But Austin Powers and Dr. Evil with Mike Myers, that's such a, like, the humor in that is so much, like, it feels like he thought this would be funny just for his whole life by figuring out, like, stupid stuff just by facial expression or the way he says something, that there's nobody else who could ever do that. With Austin Powers, I've always liked the first one the most, because I feel like that's when both of those characters feel the most like themselves without it getting, like, really crazy or over the top about stuff. But I think in the facial expressions and the lines and just the whole thing about Austin Powers, I love Austin Powers so much in that.
I think the best part about that too is going into it, Mike Myers was probably just, from what it seems, just like, dude, this would be so funny if I done this. Yeah. Like, going into it, he was like, dude, this is gonna be hilarious. Yeah. Like, he's just doing it for the love of the game. He didn't even care if it was successful. This was a passion project.
Yeah, and just, like, the repeated lines of him just always saying, like, yeah, baby, and stuff like that. And, like, the jokes about, like, his teeth and everything. Also, it's, like, it's such a specific thing in these movies, but when it's, like, cutting from scene to scene, and it'll just cut to, like, him and a bunch of dancers doing some, like, ridiculous dance, and it just, like, freezes on his face at the end of it, and then it cuts to, like, the next scene.
Yeah.
I feel like he's so interwoven into, like, all the jokes in those movies, so that is one that really stands out for me.
Yeah, and I feel like, too, with those movies, like, the comedy in those movies, and just, like, the premise of what's going on, is just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That it's, like, you can't help but laugh, especially, like, watching him do all the stupid skits and stuff, whether it's him as Dr. Evil or as Austin Powers himself. Like, the skits themselves are just so stupid.
Yeah.
I feel like my favorite, I don't know, because there's a lot of good. I think one of my favorite jokes from that whole series is Dr. Evil when he's asking for $1 million, and all the other people are like, "You're doing all this for just $1 million?"
Yeah.
Like, just cause.
He's so hung up on that.
Yeah, just dogging off so much. Like, you're literally like an entire evil plan for $1 million.
Yeah, I also love too. Some of the lines are so insanely, like, worded. Like, there's a really specific line that Dr. Evil says when he and Scott go to, like, the parental therapy thing, and they ask him to talk about himself, and he's talking about his family, and he says, he's describing how his father would, like, say crazy things, but then he says something like, it's the kind of thing that only the genius possessed in the insane lament, and it's just like, who came up with that? Oh my gosh, there's just so many little touches to every delivery of a joke and stuff having a specific way of being said and stuff that's incredible in those movies.
All right, I have my next one, and this one was the first one that we've talked about so far that isn't a main character, I believe. I'm trying to think. Yeah.
All right.
Isn't the main character. Christopher Mintz Plasse as Fogel in Superbad.
Oh my gosh, yeah. McLovin?
Yeah.
That is a... yeah.
Well, because Superbad's probably my favorite comedy movie of all time. Mm. So I was thinking about, obviously when we were doing stuff about comedy, I'm like, well, what about Superbad? Thinking about it, and I'm like, I think Michael Cera and Jonah Hill have both done a good job in their roles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was considering saying Michael Cera in terms of like being perfectly cast, because he's in multiple movies is basically that character.
Yeah.
And plays it perfectly, but I was like, that's too like spread far there.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, McLovin, Fogel, dude.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And then I also thought about Bill Hader as the police officer. I was like, that's a pretty good one too. But I was like, nah, it's got to be McLovin.
Those two are like so perfect for him being McLovin
the
whole time. And that's like, I'd say that is 100% like the most iconic part of that movie. Like, Jonah Hill and Michael Cera do a lot of really funny stuff in it, but it's like, from the moment Fogel shows up, it's just like, oh my gosh, this guy.
Yeah.
McLovin. That is so well known. Just McLovin, like people have the fake McLovin IDs and stuff. That is such a like standout and iconic part of the movie.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I think it's just like everything from like, the character to like the way that he's like acting as, McLovin and everything, and then just the look and everything, like all of it together. I'm like, dude, I could not imagine this being a different person. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah. Well, I'll jump to my next one here, which is also not a main character, but is Ben Stiller as White Goodman in Dodgeball. Like, just the perfect, like, over-the-top jerk. And he's like the perfect bad guy for that movie, because it's like all about like the average Joe's gym, and then he's like the fitness nut who had like the weight problems in the past and stuff. But just some of his like delivery and his whole demeanor to begin with, when he's like trying to intimidate them and stuff, and his voice and the whole thing just sounds so like corny and evil for no reason.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I've really wanted to rewatch recently, but I think White Goodman probably is my favorite part of that movie, apart from, and I wouldn't say this guy's perfectly cast because he also plays similar characters and other stuff, but the guy who needs to get really angry to be able to be good at Dodgeball.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I love those movies.
Yeah.
That movie specifically.
I actually did rewatch that probably like a month or two ago, and as I was watching, I was like, dude, I forgot how like ridiculous this movie was.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many parts of where I'm like, why is this even happening?
Yeah. I don't know what it is too. It's like a specific scene with White Goodman. It's when they're in the final game and the girl gets out, who actually is Ben Stiller's wife in real life. I forget what her actress's name is. She's another one where it's always like I remember her name and then forget when I'm talking about her. But it's when she gets out, and then it just cuts to White Goodman like looking at her, and for some reason he just takes a ball and it hits her again, and then he gets mad that the ref is like threatening to throw him out, and he's like, "What, are you kidding me?" Oh man, yeah, White Goodman. Also, like, there's so many funny characters in that movie, but
there are.
I think in terms of like the perfect role for them, that is perfect opportunity for Ben Stiller to be a huge jerk.
Yeah. I think my next one was a little bit of a throwback, but Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop.
Wow, that is a great answer. That movie, the first time I watched it, I thought it was solely comedy. I didn't know it actually had like some serious stuff go on in it too. But yeah, that's a really good answer. That is definitely a deep cut. But yeah, nobody else could have, like, the whole movie depends on his charisma to like drive the scenes, and like when he's dealing with like I forget what the cops' names and stuff are in it, but like Judge Reinhold and stuff like that. It's like, that's awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, he went on, after that to do like a lot more different comedy stuff, like Norbit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like in that movie, like, it was like you said, him being like super charismatic, but also like he has like the funny moments still, because he's just a funny guy. Like, if I couldn't see it once again being anybody else but him playing that character, just because no one fits like the so funny but also so charismatic and stuff, like,
Yeah.
but with the like talent, just overall talent to like carry the scenes the way that he did.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why I was thought of him.
Yeah, and there's so much like wit to his character too, and it's like everybody in that movie is so like, I feel like most other people are pretty like stone cold and stuff in it, but he like, it's why he like stands out is because like it's constantly butting heads with people who are actually like, what's your problem, man, and stuff. But also just in terms of him playing like the goofy but also serious cop, it's like that's a really good chemistry for him in that movie. So that's a really good pick too. My next pick is also a throwback, which is Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin in the Naked Gun movies. Which, I say this, and we're coming at stuff with like the standpoint of like basically not being able to picture somebody else playing it that perfectly. I haven't seen the Liam Neeson one. I've heard it was like decent, but I can't really see myself ever enjoying it as much as I love like specifically Naked Gun 1 and 2 are both good, and the third one's kind of funny, but sometimes I feel like it's trying too hard. But that is probably, in terms of stupid humor, might be like the stupidest humor movie I've ever seen. And I love it about it. Just the constant lines said seriously that should not be said seriously, and like just the stupid cop drama moments turned into a ridiculous scene are amazing in that movie.
Yeah, I feel like that one too, like the humor in that movie is just, it's very like, all right, this is a stupid gag joke. Like, this is what's going on. And a lot of times just like a very kind of simple like setup punchline, or like, oh, you said this, something happens. Like, there's a reactive response to that.
Yeah.
But like, it's so like ridiculous, especially like following like the story and everything. But in a way, like, he plays that so well.
Yeah.
He's just like, you can't. And I haven't seen the Liam Neeson one either, which I kind of want to, just because
Yeah, I think it's funny because I've seen a couple clips of it and think it looks at least enjoyable. I just don't think it would be quite the same as that.
Yeah, and I mean, especially too, because like, just based off of like looks and like demeanor and stuff, he's like kind of serious. You know what I mean? Like, the character is serious, but there's just so much like the delivery, like the way that he like delivers the jokes and everything. It's just like to the point. Like, it's not
he's not telling jokes. Like, he's going around acting serious, but it's just from a stupid thing. Like, the way he thinks about things happening is just ridiculous.
Yeah. And I don't think I could see anybody like delivering like the jokes like he does, where it's just, just like a stupid like punchline or something like that. Like, somebody says something to him and he just like responds real quick and then just goes about doing whatever he was doing.
And it's so like in your face stupid. Because, a lot of the characters and stuff we've brought up, several of them are characters where it does seem like they're trying to be funny or act stupid about something on purpose, like Axel Foley, like you said. But he is so like he has everything you'd expect in a cop drama. So like he's walking around and there's like slow jazz music and he's like monologuing in his head while something insanely stupid is going on that you're seeing. I think, to be really specific about that for a second, in the first one there's a scene where he like every time he's monologuing and driving his car, it ends with him crashing into something and then just like parking and getting out anyway. And one of those scenes, he's monologuing in his head and he crashes his car and gets out, but the airbag starts going off and then his car is like rolling down the street and he's still monologuing, but there's this whole scene going on where he thinks somebody is stealing his car and driving crazily, so he pulls out his gun and starts shooting at it as it's going away. Oh my gosh, yeah, that is like, in my opinion, one of the best uses of like stupid comedy. Mm-hmm. I love that so much.
I got one more.
Yeah.
And this one's kind of, you know, like a fairly obvious pick, but we haven't brought him up yet. But Adam Sandler is Happy Gilmore. I mean, I don't think anyone else could be Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that movie so much. That is probably my personal favorite Adam Sandler movie.
Mm-hmm.
While we were like I was brainstorming my picks for us doing this episode, I also considered Happy Gilmore, but I also feel that way about Billy Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Is that is just like the epitome of like stupid Adam Sandler humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also a really good pick.
Well, I just feel like with like Happy Gilmore, like Adam Sandler's like, he's got like the charisma and stuff, but he's also got like the ridiculous, like the random like stupid yelling and stuff like that. Yeah. Like when he gets mad, just starts like screaming and like, you know, the random stupid stuff. And I'm like, nobody else could do this. Not the way that he did.
Yeah. I also love in that movie, like it's not like so over the top with this character, but like Shooter McGavin I think is hilarious as the bad guy in that movie. And just the way whenever him and Adam Sandler are together, the way the two of them interact is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go in my last solid pick here. And this is one where I could see people disputing this, but just because I have seen this movie a ridiculous amount of times, just like, for not really a huge reason, just that I saw it when I was a kid and loved it, and my brothers and I would watch it all the time, is Kevin James as Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Mm-hmm.
I forever loved that role so much, and I love that movie so much, and it's so like, it's such a easy and fun kind of comedy movie to watch, and the humor is so straightforward and simple to absorb, but also it's like you root for him and he's like the ultimate nice guy put into a over his head situation and stuff. So I will forever think that movie's fantastic. I cannot say the same for the second one because I watched it and I hated it. I could not believe how bad they fumbled it, but the first one is so like charming and like fun to me, and that's probably my favorite Kevin James movie, even though I think like he's got a lot of good stuff where he's really funny in it, you know.
Yeah, I mean I can see that. I mean he's, you know, he's charming, so he's good at like playing like the nice guy and stuff, and like the whole thing is about him just kind of being like a bigger, like unassuming, you know, not doing too much mall cop, and that's like the whole gist of what's going on. So, you know, he gets into this situation that's kind of above his pay grade and everything. And it also, you know, it talks about like his like failures and stuff before, you know, and like his backstory and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it's, you know, I don't know. I think it really makes you like root for him, like you said, but also like, I like, again, like I couldn't see anybody else being, you know, Paul Blart, but also, even if there was someone, like, even if I could picture somebody else, like, oh, like maybe this guy could have played him or whatever, I don't think it would have been to the degree that Kevin James did. So I think that's, you know, partially what, you know, this is all about. Like, you know,
for sure. And I have two that I'll throw out there where I don't have like a specific role to assign to them, because I would say that in each of their movies, I don't think there's somebody else that could do that the way that they did. In the same way I'd say that about, like, Jim Carrey.
Mhm.
The first one is any Rodney Dangerfield movie, and any character that Rodney Dangerfield plays, like,
Mhm.
nobody can match that. It's so, like, the way he talks and, like, moves and his little, like, quirks and stuff are always so specific to him. And I think Rodney Dangerfield is just, like, it's always so funny to watch him. I can't
Yeah.
imagine, too, with, like, most of the people that we've said, being in a room with them and them trying to be serious. Imagine the actors acting in these scenes with these characters. Like, how are you not
Yeah.
always laughing when
Yeah.
they're doing this stuff? Um, oh boy, I'm blanking his name. We were talking about him recently. The bus driver in Billy Madison,
Oh, Chris Farley.
Chris Farley, too, has several roles where I'm just like, that's just Chris Farley. Like,
Yeah.
that's not anybody else.
This isn't even a character. That's just Chris Farley with a different name.
Yeah, that's just Chris Farley with a different name and, like, a slightly different temperament sometimes. But yeah, both Chris Farley and Rodney Dangerfield, I would also say that for that. Any role they're in is just them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not somebody else could have done that, because if somebody else tried to do it, it would be 10 times different than
Mm-hmm.
what you might expect from just, like, the average comedy role, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with roles like that too, like some people, like, it just depends on what it is. Like some people don't like it, some people do. I think with people like Chris Farley, like if you saw them in a role, you were like, all right, well this is probably just going to be a Chris Farley role, but you knew what to expect. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jim Carrey's kind of the same way. Like, well, in his comedy stuff, it's the same way. His serious stuff's a whole. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Like I feel like some people kind of take that away from him just because of how stupid his comedy stuff is.
Yeah.
But like in serious roles, like he's in general, he's a great actor.
He is a really good actor, and I think too there's opportunities for that to show through in his in his comedy roles. He has some, like, scenes that are just, like, really well acted, like in Liar Liar. At certain moments, he just has, like, a really well acted scene, and, like, if you've seen Bruce Almighty, like it even gets, like, serious at certain points. But, like, yeah, he is just a good actor too.
Yeah.
And I'd say too, in that regard, if you watch the Truman Show, there's, like, a bunch of humor in the Truman Show, but it's also just, like, Jim Carrey's just a great leading role for that. Like, he's, like, the perfect good guy for that movie.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts about perfectly cast roles or comedy movies?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's
Plenty.
This is another one we will walk away from and be like, oh, there's 10 more that we could have just went through. But yeah, I think that's about all for right now.
Yeah.
So this has been the Mild Opinion Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.